How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing good. I had a podcast I was editing, and it's off to the wayside right now. I've been getting text and messages last couple of days about stuff going on, and want to know what my thoughts were on it. As far as this, rule that Mississippi's trying to get overturned in in the Supreme Court, afraid it looks like they might get it done. Here's the problem, and I don't know if you've noticed it. You don't have a lot of the Republican legislatures taught in it. They've been chasing the pro-life and pro-choice movement. They've been like a dog running a car. They've been using this argument in the electorate for, 40 years? Give or take. It's always at the forefront of every race. And now the Republicans have caught the car, and they don't know what to do with it. It was just a matter of time anyway. If it goes back to the states, there's probably going to be more than half of the states that just outlaw it completely, except in certain cases. I don't know if anybody's thought about the ramifications of this on the full force. And I'm not talking about being accessible for health care and all that. Still going to be the rules. The 89 law for the HIPAA rule that we all have to live by is still there. This could actually change healthcare in general. If you've gone through having a spouse or a family member that's at the end of life, you call in hospice. Now, the argument's going to be that this will be one of the rules the states can decide on. But once a ruling is made, any other ruling that the state has is now under scrutiny regarding this type of work. If you've ever had a family member on hospice, guess what will probably come to an end? Yeah, you got it, the DNR. It's basically the same thing at a different age. Oh, it's really not. But life and death is life and death. It doesn't matter if it's 15 weeks or 89 years and 2 weeks. If you allow something to pass without intervention, it is the same outcome. If you do the intervention and decide that you're going to go through with the procedure, it's the same outcome. I got to thinking the other day about the gay marriage ruling. If you read Justice Kennedy's remarks and the basis of the law, if you read that real close, it has nothing to do with gay marriage at all. And this is why I don't know why it hasn't been used in multiple high-profile cases that regards to licensure. Why are we still running with these nurse compacts when Justice Kennedy said if one state issues a license, it has to be honored by the other states? Now, if you don't believe me, you can go into the archives and the U.S. Supreme Court and go in the archives and look it up. Gay marriage ruling. You just all got to type in to search it and look it up and read what he wrote. It ain't, they legalized gay marriage. No, they legalized any license from any state has to be honored by any other state even if licensure didn't occur in that state. That changes the ball game, and nobody's used it. It would strictly undermine everything. So does that mean that ruling is going to play into this states' rights ruling? Oh, yeah. And in a big way. I watched the elections a few weeks ago, and I saw where Virginia wiped out the governor, lieutenant governor, and AG's race. Oh, they were Republicans. Okay, fine. They really hadn't held an office, per se. They weren't officials, and the Republicans are running around hollering, oh, it's going to be a landslide. I wouldn't be counting your chickens yet. You still hadn't done anything. Democrats haven't done anything. Y'all have not done anything for the public in years. Oh, build America back better. No, that doesn't make a crap. All it does is tax the hell out of us. Pure and simple. And if they say, oh, well, we don't tax under 50. Well, people that make under 50 still got to pull up that gas pump. They still got to go buy a loaf of bread. I live in an area that's kind of a poor area. Our prices at our grocery store have gone up. And our discount grocery store prices have gone up. Welcome to the new America. I'm having a hard time trying to decipher between who's a bourgeoisie or not. Yeah, absolutely everything that you read in the Communist Manifesto, the liberals are doing right now, right in front of our face, and we're not doing anything. I'm probably one of the last generations that was required to read the Communist Manifesto in school. I had a good teacher for it too. She was the bomb. She made it alive. And it stuck with me all these years. And when you sit back and you read the Communist Manifesto and you watch what's going on, mask, that's been done several times in the past and never with a good outcome. It's always the dictators that end up with these mask mandates. They did it in the 30s. They did it in the 20s. Yeah. And when you're talking about that, there's just not anything else I can say about that kind of stuff. You have to go read for yourself. The problem is we're an uneducated society anymore. Nobody reads anymore. If you can't hear it in an app and you can't do anything with it in a app, pardon that phone buzz, and that's probably a car warranty call, then we don't take the time to actually open up the PDF and read it word for word. I read the arguments in the Mississippi case. It's a sound argument. I mean, it probably will not go the way everybody wants it to. I mean, only 20% of the population in America want to see the rules change anyway. Maybe that should be left up to the states, but let's change the program. I'm from Mississippi originally. I understand the argument against it. I've not lived in Mississippi for a long time, and I understand the argument against it and the argument for it and everywhere in between. I personally, for me, it's personally what I think. I'm not for it at all. We do the procedure in the hospitals too. It's just got a different name. Is this ruling going to affect that too? You heard me right. Yes, we do them in the hospitals. It's got a different name. It's the same procedure. Kind of like when you go buy cream cheese, it's all cream cheese. It's just got a different brand name on it. Same thing with this procedure. I don't understand what's really going on. The most liberating thing I've done in the last month is I went and changed my party affiliation to independent. I was a Republican, but after the last 4 years of them sitting around twiddling their thumbs, while a Democratic majority was doing everything they can to undermine our Constitution, but the Republicans say, oh, we're the fighters for the Constitution, but you have done zero. Oh, we don't have the votes. Make some noise. Not all the Democrats agree with all the liberal parts of their party platform either. You just have to convince them to vote with you. That means you got to make an effort to walk across. You think I work well with everybody I work with? If people that know my attitude and know me, no, I do not. I can work with you. I don't have to like you to work with you. I don't have to like your politics to be able to work with you. We've become complacent. We decide that we're going to elect these representatives to go and represent us, but they don't represent us at all. We really have become a democracy, though. We're not a constitutional republic anymore. We elect the people to go to Washington to represent us and give our ideas, and they're supposed to vote how the people in their districts want them to vote. That's what we supposed to do. That's a constitutional republic. That's how that works. What we're doing now is a democracy. We elect them to go represent us, and then they vote whatever the party wants. The time for parties is over. It's been a dwindling thing for several years now. It's really time for it to be over with. We've had the most tumultuous 2 years in American history as far as social issues go. I've heard nobody say that what Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd was a good thing. I've heard people say that, he just did it because he was a black man. No, he did that pretty regular, or he wouldn't have done it then. But that 8 minutes and 42 seconds was another opportunity missed because the politicians are running scared. The one thing you can be guaranteed of in this country on a politician is when they realize that we have realized that we have the power in numbers, they get scared and they send out their little Antifa-ites and their BLM-ites. If I had been an activist with BLM and I went out and I marched and I tried to get my voice heard, and then come to find out the leader of the nonprofit has 4 mansions, we're going to have this, but I'm still going to do just exactly like my Democratic counterparts do. Yeah, I said that exactly right. There were so many more peaceful protests right after the George Floyd incident. And it wasn't all blacks and it wasn't all whites. It was arm in arm. I know I went to one because I'm sick of police brutality being used in all these cities. There is no reason in this country right now, except in certain areas, where we should have military equipment being used by the public police against regular, ordinary, everyday citizens. Why? What does it take? Why do you got to have a breech weapon like you've got? I mean, I see everybody take the post hole drivers and turn it around and use it to bust open the doors. Okay, that's fine. Is there something going on so hard in a house that you need to bust it open? In extreme cases, yes. If you know that there's somebody being held against their will and there is no chance that they're going to go in and kill them while you're going in, by all means, bust the door down and go save a life. Got that part of it. When you got a riot going on, get out your riot gear. Show your force. But why do you have to have military vehicles? Why are we repurposing them for public use? It makes absolutely no sense. If you got them, the only reason you should get them out is in the case of a natural disaster. The only time you should ever show force like that is in an event of a natural disaster. Not for common everyday people with a search warrant for burglary or a search warrant for suspicion of. We've heard all the cases. We've seen it all on the news. Everybody's watched it. Everybody has watched it all for 2 years. We've all watched it. Most of us sat in the house because they locked us down, unconstitutional. They made us wear masks by mandate, unconstitutional. They've made us have to take a shot by mandate, definitely was found unconstitutional. Not only one aspect of it, all of it. They can't get CMS, they can't get OSHA to enforce it. It's unconstitutional. The president can't do anything on his own authority and his word. That's why we have separation of powers. But yeah, here we go. It's time, it's happening. What I'm seeing happening, because I'm out in the public, I work in Democratic-laden areas and Democratic-laden cities. I have for years. As a matter of fact, when I was out on the Navajo Reservation in Arizona, best time of my life, the county is one of the most Democratic counties in the country. And they're tired. What I would love to see happen is I would love to see some people with common sense want to run for these offices, because all the seats are up in the House this next year anyway. It's close enough to say this year. November next year, all the House, their opportunity for America to take back over government is there. It shouldn't be somebody that runs party. It should be somebody that just does as a write-in vote. Was it Rochester, New York, or Buffalo, New York? They had a Democratic person running for mayor, and they didn't like her. So this other guy said, well, I'll just write me in. And he got elected right in. He was more Democrat than he is liberal. Socialist liberal. And I'm not necessarily against some of the socialist policies. I think some of that stuff needs to be used. But instead of spending $3.95 trillion to send overseas and produce a vaccine you can't force anybody to take, and manipulating the system to run the prices of the stock up, because all your retirement folders have Moderna and BioNTech in it. It seems to be the conflicts of interest are showing. Now, I've been in healthcare for a long time. I've worked on immunizations. As a matter of fact, when I was out on the reservation working for IHS on contract, I worked with Johns Hopkins developing an immunization. I know all the paperwork we had to fill out for each and every one that was on it. I happen to know that anybody did that with these. I posted a thing online that had, I forgot what that crazy dude's name is from the Blaze. He's got 153 pages of a report that shows that the FDA owns part of Moderna, or part of the mRNA technology. That's not right. If you do, if the federal government has possession of the technology, then it should belong to the people. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, and I'm definitely not saying it's a bad thing. I'm fixing to tell you how viruses work, to show you exactly what that really means, what that video I shared really means. If you've ever worked in the field, and we all know what viruses are, but if you ever worked in the field, the one thing they do tell you is viruses mutate. They do. It's natural occurring evolution of a virus. You get a bacterial infection, you get a cold, you fight it with antibiotics, it sloughs off, it becomes a virus. Not a lot, but it does. Has the potential to. You have that going on. And the first introduction of any virus is always the worst. It always is. We had a virus. We nurses became the front line of the war against COVID all over the country. I sat in on meetings every day where the government really, they would have one rule at 8 o'clock and one rule at 1 o'clock and one rule at 4 o'clock. It happened every day. They changed the rules faster than anybody ever changed underwear because we didn't know what we were dealing with. But as nurses do, we like the former governor of Mississippi, Haley Barbour, said, we pulled up our britches and we got to work. We put our lives out there on the line for you, for our families. And now it's like, okay, well, you're going to take the shot. And why? Natural immunity is a real thing. Well, it doesn't matter. You're going to take the shot. And why? The reason you're going to take the shot is it runs the stock price up. I'm sure it's in every retirement portfolio on Capitol Hill. There's a lot of money up there, and they want to make a lot of money. And the only way to make a stock price go up is to create the supply and demand side for the vaccine. That's what they're trying to do. Nurses all over this country have sat around and said, we don't need it, we're not taking it. I took the Johnson & Johnson shot because I have autoimmune disease, and I fought that crap for 3 years. And I just had a problem having beat an autoimmune disease and mental COVID and taking a chance, because I'm taking steroids, but taking the chance to die from a cold, I just couldn't see myself doing it that way. The people that know me know I was sick. I was a sick dude. But I just couldn't see myself getting over that and then dying from a cold, because COVID essentially is a cold. So if I knew then what I know now about it, knowing that it's just going to weaken itself, because one thing you can bank on a virus is a virus has to have a host to live. And if a virus is so deadly it kills all of its hosts, the virus goes away. Viruses' evolutions aren't designed to work that way. A virus's evolution is bad to begin with, and then it reduces because it learns as it goes through your body and goes through the bodies of all these people. It learns to mutate itself to where the severity drops and the virility of the virus increases, which makes it more contagious but less deadly. I'm going to say that one more time. It adjusts itself to make, a virus will adjust itself to make itself more contagious and less deadly. Natural evolution of a virus. Now, I don't know what Fauci is. I when it started, I thought, man, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about. He don't. And if he does, he's hiding it for monetary gain. I think he's got Hitler syndrome, short man syndrome. There's another short term for it. I'll let y'all figure that out. Man, they just need to put him somewhere. He does not make any sense wearing his 3 masks. I never understood that. Mask ain't effective against crap. We wear them in surgery, and we wear them when you got TB and respiratory stuff. We got specific masks for that. Well, common cold virus is just a common cold virus. Oh, it was augmented in a lab. We paid for the augmentation. He can sit there and lie that he didn't. They don't do anything in China without money. We still don't have the numbers from China about how many people the virus killed over there. It's probably in the tens of millions. So you got a billion people, probably in the tens of millions. I used to think the population control myth was just that, a myth, but it's starting to look more like maybe that's what it was intended for. I'm not advocating for that theory at all. I'm just saying it's starting to look suspicious. And every time a new variant comes along, the politicians are trying their best to keep us at bay. We're tired of it. It's time to stand up. And the best way anybody can stand up right now, especially, with all the people looking for change, but they don't want the same different change. They want a whole different change. We don't want to walk into a voting booth to vote for a Democrat or a Republican anymore. We want to walk into a voting booth and vote for somebody that says, hey, I've got your best ideas at mine. I don't care what it is. If it don't benefit my people, after my people have told me what they want me to vote for and vote against, then I'm not voting for none of it. And the only way to do that is to just write in candidates all over in every race in this country. Just write them in. And then this BS will stop. Maybe. Maybe. Change how the voting rules work. I watched that part of that summit crap yesterday for democracy or whatever. That's the biggest bunch of BS I ever heard in my life. And if you watch it, everybody watches this, go watch it. Summit for Democracy or something. It was yesterday, which would have been the what? Hold on, let me see exactly what the date is. It would have been on the 9th. And it would have been on the 9th. And if you don't listen to him and the people that spoke, talked about how our tax system is wrong, how our country is wrong. Yes, we have systemic this. Yes, we have systemic that. Well, okay, yeah. Okay. Solve the problem. That's what we elected you to do. Quit race baiting everybody in the country. Quit money baiting everybody in the country. There was a time where you were judged by your work ethic. And I even hate to say that. But you were. And the reason that I know that you were is because I still hear about, man, that whole time you was sick, you worked. I didn't know nobody had a work ethic like that. I was just stupid. I should have took off to take care of myself. Then I wouldn't have had all those other problems. But I was too stupid to know it because I thought that it was still something to be said about working. But it wasn't. I know it's been a hard year. I know that the nurses are fed up in the hospitals, the clinics, the nursing homes, the rehabilitation centers. Nurses are fed up with wearing masks. Take them off, people. There's plenty of nurses out there to cover shifts. Take them off. If they fire you, good riddance. It's time that we take over our field. I saw a statistic. I'm going to say this. It's nothing to do with what I'm talking about right this second, but it kind of does. And why the government does what they do, when they do what they do. This last bill they passed is Make America Better, Build Back Better America, or whatever the crap it is. Plays to special interest through the whole thing. Now, if you live in an area that gets 10 hours worth of sunshine, by all means get you a solar panel. If you live in the north and you're in an area where the wind blows all the time, get you a windmill. I think anything you can do to save $1 on your electric bill, go for it. Because later down the road, it shores up a little fossil fuel so I can put my tank for $1.74 instead of $1.84. quit. Everybody start taking the aluminum cans back and recycling. That's a form of all of this green energy crap they're talking about. Take your papers down there, have them recycled. Make them do it. Spend money on stuff we know works. Quit trying to do away with the coal industry and the gasoline. Fossil fuels built this country, by God, and it's the only way we're going to stay a country. I'm tired of driving up to a gas pump paying $3.15 a gallon, or $3.05 a gallon, or $3.09 a gallon. If it's more than $2 a gallon, it's already too much. And we talk in the English weights of gallons. What about the people that's paying $7 and $8 a liter? A liter. I'm not. Common sense, which there ain't too much of anymore. Common sense is gone. I knew it was gone 4 years ago when I told somebody that I was working with they had done something kind of stupid. And all I said was, I thought you had more common sense than that. I got called to the office the next day and I got a write-up for using the word common sense because they were offended. I think it's the only write-up in history for anybody using the word common sense. I heard my grandpa say, political correctness is going to ruin this country. Here we are. Here we are. It's going to be when we decide that if we don't want it ruined anymore, that's when the change will come. Here's what the government's scared of. These are what Democrats are always scared of. What happened on January 6th? When they invaded the Capitol? I don't agree with it. I don't. But I saw a post, and it's since been taken down and basically wiped out on all social media. Said, y'all sitting here talking about an insurrection, and I think that's the most patriotic thing I've ever seen done. Now, saying that, I get the point where it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I thought about that, and then I saw a statistic the other day, and when I saw the statistic, it reminded me of what Yamamoto said during World War II: never would invade America, but because in America, there's a gun behind every blade of grass. So I started looking up numbers for just deer hunting licenses from 2 years ago, which was the last time they kept any accurate records. The weekend of Thanksgiving is the largest weekend for deer hunting in this country. Now, they talk about China's army having 1.5 or almost 2 million people in it. That's a big army. That's a lot of people. And they talk about Russia's army having like 1.2, 1.3 million. That's a lot of people too. But the numbers that I saw, just in our little 330 million population little country, we have the largest standing army in the world, period. Probably one of the most accurate shooting armies in the world, period. The weekend of Thanksgiving, 2 years ago, there was 32.86 million deer hunters hunting. 32.86 million. To the people in Congress, to the 535 officials in Congress, I'm going to say this. If there were to be an insurrection in this country, a real one, because of your tyrannical acts, and that's what you're turning into, by pushing a liberal socialist agenda, it's actually against the Constitution. And the Republicans for sitting by and letting it happen. Just twiddling your thumbs. Oh, we'll wait to the next election cycle. We don't want you waiting no more. If there was going to be a real insurrection, there's 32.86 million minimum people that could have done it. I watched a video the other day. It's called Capital Punishment. Capital with a O, punishment.com. I suggest you all go watch that video and realize this January 6th thing is some BS. It's BS. They got capitalpunishment.com. CAPITOL punishment.com. It will open your eyes to a lot of BS going on. And all the people that's being convicted, let them out. Let them out. They did what they thought was right. Besides, it was y'all's lack of action that caused it. Oh no, Trump said this about the election. He did. He did say it. Problem was the insurrection started before he was through with his speech. But go watch the little video. Y'all scared of Trump? I know why now. I didn't like the way he ate. I didn't like the way he presented himself sometimes. It just didn't seem very presidential to me. I liked some of it. I loved his policies. Everybody loved his policies. Didn't mean I liked him as a person, but who gives a crap about who he is as a person? He's got to live with that. I don't. I have to live with his policies, and he had good policies because I take about 3 or 4 badass mean tweets right now for $1.74 in gas. Yeah, you too, huh? Figured as much. He said the whole time, it wasn't him they disliked. It was us. And now you're seeing it on full display. Oh, well, David, you got to be able to fix this voting thing. I can fix that. I know exactly how to fix it. Wipe out all the rolls, have everybody re-register. But don't stop there. Make it like Maine and Nebraska, and let's separate all the congressional districts across the country. And that's how the electoral votes get brought. The popular vote winner of every state gets the 2 Senate representative votes off the top. Whoever wins the popular vote in that state gets those 2 electoral votes. Whoever wins the congressional districts, by majority of congressional districts, they go to that elector. So you could have split electors in each state, and that makes everybody happy. You got the national, the popular vote winner, it's going to always be a Democrat. Always. There's more registered Democrats in the country than there are registered Republicans. Right now, there's more people that identify like me as an independent. Because when I hit a booth, sometimes I don't vote for R's, I vote for D's. Especially in local elections. And not up here. Where I live in now, they all think they're a Democrat or a Republican, but when you talk to them, they're all libertarians. They just don't know it. It's quite refreshing living here. You don't have all the BS to put up with from your county government and your city governments. I mean, you got regulations here and there. The high school my boy goes to has 6 rules for the high school. Number 6 is the most important rule there. It says your choice, your consequence. I couldn't teach it better myself. I mean, these kids are great. They're great. They get to make rules for themselves. In the school, you can't beat it. This is a great area to live in. Couldn't have made a better choice. If I'd have been looking for this, I wouldn't have found it, but I found it by accident and love it here. It really opens your mind up when you see you don't have to. Well, wait a minute. We mean the neighbors are helping each other with the road? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how we do it up here. Okay, I can help you. That's gone in America, but not where I live. This video, I've had a hard time containing myself, and I hadn't stayed on point at all through the whole thing. I've just made a lot of different points. I want you to hit the like button And then I want you to subscribe. And then I want you to hit the little bell. Because I'm going to start. I've got about 3 videos I've worked on, and I haven't been able to upload them. But I do have my new internet in, and it's 1 gig up, 1 gig down. So I can actually do real live interactive podcast, which I'm going to try to do. I've rambled on for like 40 minutes here, and I apologize for that. I try to keep them around 30, 35 minutes. But do it. Get your vote. Get your little signatures you got to have to run as a write-in, because you don't have to pay all the outrageous amounts of money to run as a Republican and a Democrat, because you got to pay a ton of money to be on the ticket to get elected. Don't. If we really want to roll a stick of dynamite up into Washington, D.C. and blow it up and let the chips fall where they may, vote them all out. Go ahead and drain the swamp ourselves. We've become so complacent on depending on our people we elect to Congress and the people we elect to our Board of Supervisors and even our Board of Education. Because I am absolutely sure after that letter went out to the Board of Education, I'm at the top of that list. Because I will make my opinion about what the school is doing known, and I don't hold back. All the colorful words and all. It's time the American citizens take the filter out and let the chips fall where they may. And let's determine what really, if you get your feelings hurt, bless your heart. If you don't take what you get your feelings hurt and learn from it, then you were stupid. Oh, he called me a councilwoman instead of a council person. You're a councilman. The spot is a councilman. If you happen to be a woman, got elected to it, good luck on your venture. Now go represent your district. And quit voting for what everybody thinks is right. Because when it comes down to the net cutting, it's going to be what every individual person does at their own house. So with that, I'm going to leave it alone. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. I hope you enjoy your time with your family and friends this weekend. If it's not too cold where you are, I'm going to be working. So I look forward to going to work. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend. This is Ridge Rental Reports, and we're out of here.